From school-age kids to lifelong learners, the Walking Mountain Science Center is going to make citizen scientists out of all of us while we're enjoying the outdoors and maybe getting a little bit of exercise at the same time. Joining me in the studio is Peter Suneson of the Walking Mountain Science Center. Good morning, Peter.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. And we're talking snowshoeing, and you've got a special program coming up.
We've got some really neat kind of snowshoe excursion opportunities. You know, we finally have snow. The good news, so our snowshoe programs, our guided tours are kicking off again. But this month we've got a really neat kind of a sponsored snowshoe opportunity from Icebreaker USA, which is located right there in the Solaris Plaza in Vail, the Merino Wool outfitters. They've put together a 4-part series that we're going to be out guiding, kind of talking wintertime warmth, insulation, toleration, migration, hibernation.
You know, it's interesting to me that with all of this technology, we still go back to wool as one of our best insulating layers. Why is that?
It's a really good question. You know, what I have learned recently from the Icebreaker crew is that it's natural. You know, that is what the sheep have adapted to. They've adapted. The merino sheep come from the South Island of New Zealand, and they're exposed to temperature extremes, and so they get that natural hot and cold cycle. So they've adapted over the centuries to deal with that. And so if we can mimic by using their insulation, using that to keep ourselves warm, we're mimicking those natural cycles, and that's really what it comes down to. And you know, just using the kind of propylene base layers versus a merino base layer, the smell is different, the insulation is different. It's quite amazing.
That's the other thing I've heard about merino wool. It is also antimicrobial. How does it do that?
A great question. It's another one that I'm going to defer to the sheep on the South Island. You know, it's their natural defense mechanisms. I mean, they are out there living it, those temperature extremes. So their wool, they've adapted those to those processes, and if we can mimic that by using their wool to keep us warm, we're, you know, in effect, a big burly sheep. You know, okay. You know, we've got that wool on our backs too, so it's quite neat. They've done all the work. You know, they've done the adaptations and over the centuries. We're just mimicking the natural processes that they've set up.
Have they changed the way they're manufacturing wool? Because I used to remember it being really itchy, but now I'm kind of in wool all the time and not itchy.
Exactly, and so that's a huge merino. When merino wools came on the market, that's a huge kind of change. Merino wool is so fine, so soft, not itchy at all, and that's a special type of sheep that they get that from. But absolutely, I mean, wool has come a long ways, and what they say now, it's totally biodegradable. After about 6 months, you can bury your wool shirt totally back to the earth in 6 months, if exposed to the elements. So it's that, you know, kind of sustainable resource,
yeah.
But also totally natural, which is really neat.
So tell us how to participate in this Snowshoe and Icebreaker program.
Gotcha. So our public tours, the Science Center's public tours, go out every Tuesday and Thursday, all morning long. You know, I'm heading out on the trail right after I leave the studio this morning. And then our Icebreaker tours, this Saturday, we've got a really neat partnership with Josiah Middaugh. Some of the locals might know him. He's a world champion athlete. He's going to guide a little snowshoe run for us around Molloy Park. And then on February 9th, we're going out another demo day. We're going to try on base layers. We're going to go for a little night hike, really put those base layers to the test in the cold night temperatures. walkingmountains.org/snowshoe to sign up.
That is great. Now, for the nighttime one, do you recommend headlamps or just let your eyes adjust?
We're going to totally play it by ear. I mean, it's one of those things, usually when we go out on the night, we want to keep our headlamps to a minimum just because, you know, we've got the night skies around here, and let's take advantage of those while we can. We will have headlamps just for safety's sake.
Peter, this sounds great. Thanks for telling us about it.
Very welcome. Thanks for having me in.
Great having you. Stay tuned. We've got Rick with your weather coming up next.